been sent some new papers to try. Well, hello and welcome to this Fotospeed video with me, Tim Jones. Hahnemühle have sent me their 4 new papers to actually do some prints on and have a look at and see what they actually print like. I imagine, because they're from Hahnemühle, they're going to be pretty good, to be honest. Let's level with you before we start this video. They're quite nice, just a little bit. So before though I dive into explaining what they are and why they are quite nice, I will don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed YouTube channel. We release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. And also don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed newsletter on photospeed.com to keep up to all the news from us here at Fotospeed, as well as occasionally some exclusive discounts in there as well on lovely Fotospeed papers, but also all the papers we distribute, like the Hahnemühle papers as well. Okay, so without further ado, that's the housekeeping out of the way. Let's dive into these quite nice papers from Hahnemühle. Okay, so a little bit of tongue-in-cheek there, to be honest. They are very nice and also addresses some issues that could possibly arise with printing as well. But I'll talk about that a little bit later on because they've introduced some more sustainable papers and eco-friendly papers, as well as some more staples. So let me start with a little bit of an elephant in the room, to be honest, because we have just released our amazing Fotospeed Matte Baryta 310. If you haven't tried it yet, please. It's in the Photosmooth test pack. Beautiful paper. However, there is another option, and that is Hahnemühle's own Matte Baryta. So this paper is 100% cotton. It also has Baryta content in it as well. So you get those deep blacks and those punchy colors, a little bit like this print here, as you can see. Apologies, Hahnemühle only sent me A4s, so I'm a little bit stuck at the minute. I like to have nice big pictures when we're doing some reviews like this, but they sadly only sent me A4s. So the Baryta content gives really nice punchy colors, really deep silky blacks, and for a matte paper that is quite important because it does hold the detail absolutely perfectly, and this is down to the Baryta being in the paper, the Baryta content in the paper, in the coating. So basically Baryta is bromide sulfate, and it was put into papers to help hold the contrast but also act as a little bit of a brightening agent. So the Matte Baryta papers, be it ours or Hahnemühle's paper, are OBA free, so there's no brightening agents in it apart from that Baryta content. This paper is 308 GSM as well, so it falls into that true photo rag weight of paper as well. I've been quite impressed with it. It does colour and black and white really nicely. This picture here is from one of our ambassadors, Alex Hare, and it's held like the neon signs and things in there really nicely, and it's even picked up all the shadow detail and everything just around here, and it's just held it perfectly. This is a picture from one of our ambassadors as well, Ross McKelvey, and I printed this one because it's got loads of fur detail, but also because it's a black and white as well. That high white point of the Baryta as well has held this beautifully. We've got loads of detail going on as well. It's held all the little fibers in the beard absolutely fantastically, and that was my big takeaway from testing these Matte Baryta papers, and when I did a video on ours a few weeks ago, was the amount of detail these papers hold. With matte papers, sometimes it can just soften the image very slightly, which could be great for kind of dreamlike scenes or some very kind of moody landscapes and things like that. Fog scenes perhaps, very, very nice. But for portraits and things, we wanted to hold some detail in there, and it's picked up all the lovely lines, the fur, beautifully, and that is really a trait of all Matte Baryta papers, to be honest. So again, we have a kind of a landscape kind of dreamlike image, to be honest, but it works perfectly. This picture was from a Fotospeed ambassador called Jack Lodge. He takes wonderful, amazing landscapes, so again, it's just worked. It's just a lovely, lovely paper. And these two, one from Amy Bateman on my left-hand side here, and one from Julian Baird here, both Fotospeed ambassadors. Again, it's just worked perfectly, especially in the sheet with all the fur and bits down the bottom here. It's just really helped to pick out all those whites in there as well, and that's the Baryta content working in the paper. I think I've just been generally impressed with the Matte Baryta papers. It's a fairly new thing that's kind of come on the scene, and Yeah, I've been quite impressed with them. I haven't really considered them before because Canson have had theirs out for a long time, to be honest. So I never really quite tested it as much as I probably should have. But with the advent of our own matte barometer and also Hahnemühle's, I've been printing on them quite a lot, and actually they're beautiful. This 100% cotton, they feel beautiful in your hand as well. So let's move on to something a little bit different, something with a bit of a shine and a bit of a gloss, which is the bamboo gloss barometer. Okay, so in front of me here, I have the bamboo gloss barometer. It reminds me very much, it's got this beautiful texture to it. It's 305 grams, 90% bamboo and 10% cotton. It has a natural white to it, so it's slightly yellow if you compare it to, say, this bright white barometer here. So it is a little bit warm. It reminds us very much of our legacy, actually. But I probably shouldn't say that because I'm talking about Hahnemühle. Now, it has this beautiful texture. I think it's so unique, these textures Hahnemühle get. It's just got this lovely kind of steppling texture to it. It looks beautiful. It reminds me of the Photorag metallic, to be honest, in kind of its texture. But obviously we like that metallic kind of shine to it as well. And the gloss on it is beautiful. It just glints in the light, which is beautiful, but you don't get any harsh glare off it or anything like that. Pictures like this with lots of color and neons in work perfectly. This is really just a beautiful paper to use for this image. Equally, like with the Jack Lodge landscape here as well, just holds it really, really nicely. I think for this image, I would probably say, because we've got some nice graduated tones and things in here, I would say possibly, and you're happy to disagree with me here, that the texture is possibly a little bit too much for this type of image. I always say that you should have a hierarchy with textured papers, and it should be the image first and the paper second, but the paper's there to enhance your image. And if you can see the paper coming through or the texture like you can on this one, it is just overtaking the image for me very slightly in this picture here. So it suits a little bit more of a little bit more of a busy scene, perhaps like Amy Bateman's picture here, the sheep, but it's held all the detail perfectly here, very sharp paper. And because we've got that soft focus at the back here, this very shallow depth of field, it just works with that. It kind of works with the Balkan to really emphasize that. So that works beautifully on it. Landscapes also work really well on it. It's a little bit warm, I think, for this picture here because we've got a lot of warmth going on actually in the picture here. It would be nice to have a pure white with this, which we'll kind of move on to in a bit. But it has held the detail lovely, and it's got a beautiful contrast actually on the rocks and things. It's done a really, really nice job. I really didn't expect any of these papers to do a bad job. It's part of the natural line that Hahnemühle produce as well. More sustainable than other papers on the market because of the bamboo content in there. And it just has that little bit of cotton in there as well. But beautiful. I'm really impressed with it. For black and white, it works very nicely, but just remember it is a warm paper. So it will give that slightly warmer tone to your pictures. But remember, it's got that brighter content in there, so that will intensify things a little bit for you. But I mean, the blacks are beautiful on it, that lovely silky brighter black on this beautiful gloss and texture as well. It's held the detail beautifully. It's the one that's kind of stood out to me, to be honest, the bamboo. But yes, it's just me. I like the tactile feel of those, I suppose. So that is the bamboo gloss barometer from Hahnemühle. Let's have a look at another barometer paper, which is their Photo Silk Barometer X. Now, again, I think this is a little bit of a unique paper. It's got that silk nature. It's almost a little bit satiny, to be honest, as well. It feels great in your hand. It just feels a little bit different, but not a bad different, a really kind of nice difference. Again, brighter content in there, so it picks up all the detail. The whites look lovely. It's quite a high white point as well, which is quite nice. So when compared to the bamboo, this does have a higher white point for you. Will suit some subjects a little bit better, perhaps. I think for the sheep here, I definitely preferred the bamboo. However, that's just my opinion. And it does look absolutely stunning. So when compared to the like a matte baryta, this just has a tiny little bit of shine to it, which is actually quite pleasing to the eye. Now it's 100% alpha cellulose paper, so it's a wood pulp paper. It's 310 GSM as the weight of the paper as well. So it is quite a stiff paper. They do classify it as a photo paper, which is quite nice. So it does come in their photo test pack, but it's got that baryta content as well. Again, does colour black and white perfectly. Again, Alex's picture here just looks stunning. The bright colours in it, they just suit this style of paper, especially baryta papers, because the colours just pop off the page. And the black and whites look absolutely stunning as well. Those lovely deep blacks as well. So again, it's well worth a try and have a look at as well to see if this could be a really nice paper for you. So let's move on to the last paper. Now I've left this one to last because it's something of a little bit of a special paper and very unique to Hahnemühle as well. Now for a traditional kind of photo paper every day, like the lustres, pearls, we're normally looking at kind of a resin back to those papers. So not very environmentally friendly. So what Hahnemühle have introduced is what they call a sustainable photo satin. So again, it has this very slight sheen to it, very much like the Photo Silk Baryta X. Not as heavy, so it's only 220 GSM, but again, prints beautifully. However, I would say it's not as punchy, to be honest. I think the Baryta content in this picture here on the Baryta X, it does have a little bit more punch when compared to the Photo Silk here. So the big selling point of this is the sustainability of this paper. So it's effectively a little bit more environmentally friendly. Now it does have a plastic-free composite, Hahnemühle call it, as the backing, which I will show you in a second, is quite unique when you try and rip it. It also has a bio coating on the paper as well. So no nasty things actually in the coating as well. It feels great in your hand because of that back. If you hold like a lustre or pearl or something, it does feel a little bit plasticky, but this almost feels a little bit fine art really because of this composite on the back. So it does feel a lot better in my hand when compared to like the lustres and pearls and things. Any of you watch your videos, I'm very tactile with papers and I kind of like that lovely feel. The glaze on it is beautiful as well. It's kind of in between that semi-gloss and matte type of glaze on it. It does black and whites really nicely. Possibly the blacks are a little bit more like a matte black rather than that deep silky Baryta black that we've been looking at, but not an issue at all. Again, holds detail, lovely. Very nice for landscapes as well, or competition prints or something like that. Really ideal for that. But also it's that sustainability, and if that's important to you, then this is really a lovely photo paper to use. Now I've just grabbed a sheet of this lovely paper, unprinted, because I wanted to show you this back in a little bit more detail. If you've ever tried to tear a lustre, gloss, something like that, it makes it very, very hard, and you can't really do it very well because it's got that resin kind of plastic feel to it. Now this paper it does tear very nicely. It's quite stiff though. Let me just tear one in half, and you can see it's almost like a paper, this composite on the back, and there's the coating and bits. But it did make me think that this paper could be quite useful for bookmaking. And actually it does fold quite nicely as well. There's no nasty kind of edges or anything there. It's not double-sided at the minute. That's one thing I might be suggesting to Hahnemühle. But most of you will probably not be tearing these sheets of paper in half, but I just wanted to show you that composite in a little bit more detail, to be honest. So there we have it really. These 4 amazing papers from Hahnemühle. Like I said, we can produce custom profiles for all of these, which is a free service we offer if you buy through the Fotospeed website or one of our resellers as well. A little bit of a crash course, should we say, an insight into these lovely papers from Hahnemühle, but I'm impressed. As I am normally with papers and things, they have really impressed me, especially this bamboo matte baryta. I won't go on about it because I've said enough about it, I'm sure. But it's beautiful paper. It feels great. It's got that lovely shine to it as well. That's the one that stands out for me. So on that note, I will finish. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed YouTube channel. We release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. And also don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter on photospeed.com. And on that note, I will see you next week.